I don't even know where to start. So help a gal who
Yeah.
feels on some days high highs, and other days really low lows. As a mom, as an entrepreneur, at this stage of my life, looking back, saying, I thought I would be in a different place. And then hearing from friends who compare themselves to me and say, wow, you've had so much success, kind of help me break down if I were your client, where would you start?
Where I would start is by having you reflect on your life. And if you reflect on your life, you'll find that there are times when you felt absolutely on top of the world. And there were times when you felt miserable. Nobody loves me, nobody knows me, nobody cares for me, and all that I have accomplished is trash. And that's not what really gives me meaning. And you boil down to what do you really want? And this is true of everybody. Most people don't recognize it. People say, I want to be CEO. People say, I want to run a $1 billion company. That's not really true. You don't want to be a CEO. You don't want to run a $1 billion company. You want the feeling that you will have when you're CEO or running a $1 billion company. And if you dig deeper, even that isn't true. You don't want the feeling you'll have when you're CEO or running a $1 billion company. You want the feeling that you think you will have if you're CEO running a $1 billion company. And the only way you can think of to get to that feeling is to actually become CEO or run a $1 billion company. So you strive and you struggle and you overcome obstacles and you go through your ups and downs and all the rest of that, because that's the only way we've been taught. But actually, none of that is true. What you're really saying is, I want to be joyful. I want to be happy. I want this happiness to be unconditional. And I want this happiness to last. I don't want it to come and go. I want it to last. And the only way this is going to happen, Tracy, is if you recognize that your true nature is you are spirit. You're not this body mind complex, intellect complex. You're not Tracy. You're not the person who runs podcasts. This is the role that you're playing. So, as I tell everyone of my clients, and let me explain it to you, let's assume that I'm coming up with a new production of Death of a Salesman. Okay? And I hire you, and you're Willie Loman. And Willie Loman has had good times and bad times. He was very successful, but in bits and pieces, his life is going down. He tries to commit suicide and fails, and he's disintegrating. And you really want to get into that because you want to have a wonderful portrayal. But even as you're getting into the miserable creature that Willie Loman has become, in the back of your mind is the notion, if I do a really good job of portraying Willie Loman, maybe I'll get an Oscar.
Hmm.
That's why I say the best way to think of your life is do not identify with the character, identify with the actor. If you identify with the actor, you're gold. If you identify with the character, you're screwed.
Mm.
We're far too busy identifying with the character, and the character goes through ups and downs. The character has successes and failures. The characters has good quote unquote things happen to the character and bad quote unquote things happen. And you live on a sinusoidal curve oscillating between elation and despair. It's a lousy way to live. You have to be beyond all of that, floating serenely on a plateau where you look upon all of this and you're not moved, you're not shaken. That is the kingdom of heaven. And guess what? The kingdom of heaven is in you. You don't have to go any place to accomplish it. You just have to recognize you're already there. All you need to do is enter.